What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Blue River Bow Hunting, episode 57. I got Zach Sawvel from Central Michigan on the show tonight. One of the mid-state outdoors guys. I've been up there turkey hunting with them and deer hunted with the other Zach from Mid-State Outdoors, and went out with them downtown Indy at the ATA show and hung out and drank some beers with them for a little bit. And I got to talking to Zach here. I'm like, I got to have you on the show, man. It's always cool to have new people come on that's never been on, especially with what you guys do at Mid-State Outdoors. It's just cool to have somebody else that kind of does the same thing that I do on the show, and talk a little bit of whitetails and might even talk some turkey tonight. So anybody that don't know you, Zach, introduce yourself a little bit.
Hi, I'm Zach Sawvel from Central Michigan. Been hunting for my whole life. Like my dad, I was raised in it. I'm met Zach and Sloan and them guys from Mid-State. Like this will be my fourth year filming with them. It'll be third year last year, and so met on social media. We lived close, but nothing, crazy. Never really
Yeah,
knew each other.
that's awesome,
Other
man.
than that, I'm a
You're breaking up a little bit again on me. How did you get started in hunting?
my dad was I've been raised in it's like a family tradition. I've been raised hunting outdoors, I guess. I'm a big fisherman, trapper, just outdoors. I love the outdoors. My dad was a hunter my whole life. Like I grew up hunting.
Yeah, me too. I know how that goes for sure. What about hunting Michigan? Talk about hunting Michigan a little bit. I've had multiple people on from Michigan, talking turkeys, talking deer, talking everything like that. But what does hunting the state of Michigan mean to you?
It's pressured. Like you really gotta expect to hunt people. Even I grew up hunting all public land. Like my dad was a stone cold killer on public. Like that was what I learned on till I got, I don't know, 16. I got on some private land, and then I started hunting more private. But I shot my first deer when I was 14, when I could legally hunt with a gun. I shot one with one, and then at 15, I shot my first deer by myself, like a buck off state land with my bow, like which was an accomplished. Wasn't no monster, but it was
Right.
a buck. Like I grew up. You shot a buck if it came in because you didn't know what you were gonna shoot.
That's awesome. So your dad was a big public land hunter?
Yeah, like I grew up him hunting public land, and then he got older, he had back problems, couldn't really hunt that much. So I started. He started hunting with a buddy on some private, and I just kept hunting public on my own and learning and learning. And he taught me a lot. And then I just took from what he taught me and then took it to my own, and then just learned more and more and more.
Wonder if you had some. I know it sounds silly, but wonder if you had somewhat of an advantage, with your dad teaching you to hunt public compared to him maybe teaching you how to hunt private. Wonder if there was an advantage there, like something that gave you the leg up later on, maybe scouting wise or something like that.
I believe because I've been pretty successful over the years. Like after I started, I've shot a lot of just deer in general,
Mm-hmm.
but in the last few years I started killing. Like the last 8 years, I've shot probably 12. I think 12 bucks over the 100-inch mark in Michigan, which is in my eyes is an accomplishment to me. I don't know what Michigan's hard. There ain't big bucks. I've shot one in the 140s. Like I shot a 130s last year. Like I shot a
Yeah,
4.5-year-old 7 point this year. He's got 5 inches of mass like at the bases. He's pretty big. He
yeah,
got me excited.
yeah. That's awesome. What about the terrain? What kind of terrain features are you hunting where you're at there in Michigan?
Where I'm at, I'm hunting a big piece of private. It's probably I think 600 to 700 acres. It's all continuously. Like we got our own roads through it, but it like 3/4 of a mile wide,
Mm,
but 2 miles long,
wow.
and it's all like wetland set aside. Like they've harvested the dirt, and it's just big ponds and cattail swamps, like little popple patches and stuff everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
There's no food at all. Like it's about strictly bedding area. So the neighbors have the advantage because they got all the ag. The ag is surrounding the whole property. I'm a There's a lot of sandhill cranes if you want to shoot them, but we can't get.
Right. What about like as far as hunting that, just in general? I mean, with being basically all bedding like that, there's probably no trees or much to get in, is there?
Right, right. It's super hard. There's only very select trees that you can get into. Like some trees just aren't big enough. The ground, I don't know if you know, like the dirt's got peat. That's what
Yeah,
they're harvesting, the
peat
peat.
moss. Yeah,
Yep. So it's really soft. So all the trees are either leaning, they never got real big, like they're just not efficient for hanging. And I'm kind of scared of heights, and I hate to say this, but I don't use a harness all that much. I need to get more into it.
yeah,
I pretty much hunt ladder stands or I hunt off the ground. Like this
yeah.
year, I shot my deer sitting on the ground. Like,
Man, there must be a thing with Zachs from Michigan that don't like heights.
yeah,
I know Sloan don't like heights up there either.
right. I mean, I've always hunted ladder stands. Everybody's like, oh, you can't kill deer out of ladder stands. And I don't think it bothers the deer. Like,
Right.
you ain't got to be no higher than 12 to 15 foot if you ain't moving.
Right.
I mean, just can't be jumping around in a tree up there.
So you think you get a lot of those deer that come in from the ag and then go to bed in the peat moss?
Oh, I know. I don't know if you know what Phragmite is.
I don't think I know that.
Like reed grass, like swamp grass, almost like cattails, but it's an invasive species.
Oh, okay.
And this is like, that's pretty much primarily what the frag grass is. It's like 12 foot tall
Oh, wow.
cattails. Like you can't see the deer once they go in there. So yeah, I know. Like that's the whole my my goal is there's a little piece of woods that I was strictly only able to hunt up until this year. It's like a 20-acre piece of woods with a little field that just got some CRP in it. Sometimes it gets planted, but sometimes it don't.
Mm-hmm.
And that was where I was only could hunt there. And then this year I got permission to hunt the rest of the farm. And so this year I did more. I was more of a learning curve. I hung some stands, but they're supposed to be getting rid of the frag grass,
Mm-hmm.
so they mow big sections of it. So you could plan on it. That's where the bedding area is going to be. And during the summer or right before deer season, they might mow it down.
Oh, wow. I bet that really switches your game plan up.
Yeah, I had a spot, dude, with some stud bucks coming through there every day. And about a month before bow season, they mowed down 100 acres of the bedding area,
Mm-hmm.
like right by my tree stand. I don't know if it was deliberately or not, but
It always makes you question that for sure, though.
for sure,
I
for
got a
sure.
couple places that some stuff like that happens every once in a while. Like, it was crazy. Hadn't done a ton of scouting on this property. Didn't need to. I mean, really, I'd hunted it for 15 years. You know, when you hunt a property that long, you get to know travel corridors and what kind of happens and when it's going to happen, even really. And I went in there to put some trail cameras up, and there were sheep everywhere. I'm like, where did all these sheep come from? And it really took me a whole year under my belt with those sheep in there to kind of figure out how the deer were going to use it. So I had to do that for 2 years or a year. I can't remember exactly how long they did that. Went in there the next summer to put trail cameras out, and they had taken all the sheep out of there. I'm like, yes, we're back to basics. I know what's going to happen this year, you know.
Right.
And played out just like that. I'd had a stand in a place. Me and my cousin put a stand up in like 2015, I think. 2015 or 2016, if I'm getting the dates right. And since then, we've shot 4 deer over 130 inches out of the same stand. And
Nice.
it's just in a place, especially during gun season. I ended up killing mine this year out of that particular stand with a bow, but it's a perfect gun stand. I mean, you can see everything. You're right on the corner of an ag, and then you have all the bedding and travel corridors to your left. So it's like you have everything like in one picture, like in your stand, and it's just a perfect location, and it always plays out that way.
That's good. We have a good honey hole like that. Where you
Oh,
know
absolutely.
that's that's the way I thought the woods was, because the woods has been very productive for me. That's where I've hunted most of the time. I shot a 145 or a one. I don't really know. I don't really score my deer that much. I
Hmm.
scored the one I shot last year with my 11 point. It was in the 130s. Like,
Yeah.
but this one's bigger. It's got 10.5 inch brow tines. Like, it's big. It's 14 point. And I shot that one in a different county, but pretty much all my other deer have come off this property. I mean, it's a really good managed property. Like, we don't shoot nothing unless it's set to be 2.5 years old. But most of us now are 3.5 or bigger. The neighbors are pretty decent about not shooting small ones because they know what lives there. because there's
Mm-hmm.
so much bedding area that they really don't have to come out till dark if they don't want to.
Yeah. I bet that makes it tough probably early on, right? Early bow season, probably.
Yes, ag. They're feeding. So I mean, as long as you can get between them and the bedding, which is how I did it this year, is I went in the mornings because most of the time they were in the fields eating in the corn, and I knew
Mm-hmm.
like how I got my deer this year is we were riding around one day on break, seeing a few bucks and a few does laying down in a spot. And I was like, man, that's a good buck. Like we're gonna come back in like a week, see if they're just using the spot a lot. Came back in a week, dude, and he was in the same spot.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna take some vacation time. Like
Right.
I think like they're I knew he was using his sight, laying in this big opening and using his wind, and you couldn't get to him.
Mm-hmm.
So I just snuck in one day, did an observation sit, seen the buck that I wanted, but he was too far away. The next day I went back, sat in the same spot. The deer just weren't coming close enough. He wasn't, I guess. I had some really decent bucks come too, but nothing that I didn't want to shoot them.
Right.
So I called my dad one day and I'm like, there's this little spot of frag grass up about 100 yards. I'm gonna sneak up there today. Like it was noon. I was like, I know they're all in the bedding area. I watched them go in there. I'm gonna slip up in there, bust out me a little spot in the frag grass, get me a couple shooting lanes, so that way I can just slip in there the next morning. The wind's right. I've seen him 2 mornings walk right by this spot. I'm like, it's gonna happen. Like I just felt really confident. My buddy wanted to shoot a doe, and I was like, dude, get in one of my other tree stands. It's a doe killing spot. Like first
Yeah.
day of bow season this year, I sat in there, had 14 does walk right by me. I smoked one. I'm like, get in there and shoot one.
Right.
He texts me and he's like, I shot one. I'm like, sweet, dude. So
Yeah.
I'm
Stay
sitting
put.
there, I'm sitting there, dude, and I knew that big buck that I was after. He was probably in the 140s. He was with a littler, like 7 point or 6 point. He had 7 points, but I don't know if it was legal. And I'm like, I seen him, and they were there. And super foggy morning, couldn't get my rangefinder to work, and I couldn't get him to stop. And when I did get him to stop, I didn't know how far away he was, so I didn't want to take the shot on him. And he just walked away, and I'm like, man, like
Oh, that's
it,
tough.
it happened just like I envisioned, but just sucked because it didn't happen because I didn't want to take the shot. Ended up being like 50 yards where I got him to stop once I got my rangefinder and stuff to work. So I'm like, didn't happen. And then I came back another time, hunted the same spot, had a really good encounter with a decent 8 point, probably 3.5 year old. I made a TikTok video of him walking through, and it was a nice buck. I'm a nice Michigan buck. He just wouldn't come in the range. I'm not a big one to shoot 50 yards. Like
Right.
40 yards, I feel like I'm not. I can shoot that far confident, but I just don't want to wound a deer because that's a bad feeling. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
I just hate that feeling.
For sure. I'm in the same boat, man. I would say up to this season, I think 38 yards was my longest bow kill. And then I shot my buck this year at 46 yards. And to be honest with you, I don't know if I'd have the cojones to do that again. But I just had the confidence. I had a window. I felt like I could hit it. I mean, when you're shooting a deer at 50 yards with your bow out of a stand, you don't need to compensate for angle. I mean, you got to put it right where you need to. And I even went just a hair high on what I thought I needed, and I put it right there in the honey hole. But man, shooting a deer that far, man, I'm with you. I have confidence in shooting that far. I just
Right.
don't want something to happen and maybe me hit a limb in there somewhere, maybe even, and deflect my arrow and I hit him in the ass or something like that. That'd be my luck on when it comes to something like that.
Yeah, anything can happen. Like you
Right.
never know at that distance, anything can happen. Like you said, little branch could be in the way, and it don't take much to deflect an arrow at 50 yards. Like,
Right.
and I hate that. I had that happen when I was like, I don't know, 17, 18 on a really good buck, hit a branch, stuck him in the neck, didn't find him out.
Oh man.
I was devastated. I was
Oh
prepared
yeah.
for months. Like,
So you talked about your private land. So do you still hammer on some public up there?
not really because I have a hard time leaving the private when I know there's good bucks there. Because on some of the other private I used to hunt, I'd get pictures of monsters. Come deer season, they'd never be there. Like this place, usually if I get pictures of deer, they're there all season. Just because the bedding, that's they live here, and there's always ag food. There's lots of water. The only pressure is me and three other guys or four guys on this 700 acres, which isn't much, and coyotes because there's a lot of coyotes.
Right. What
So they
about how much public do you have access to kind of where you live?
oh tons, like
Re-
tons. My dad lives on a dead end road, and he's surrounded by a mile by 2 mile section of state land.
mhm.
Like he lived his backyard state land.
Does that does I know this is probably a stupid question, but does that public land get absolutely hammered during gun season?
Yeah, during gun season it gets hit pretty hard. Like bow season, I know a couple guys that hunt back there, and they shoot 80, 100 inch deer every year. Like I mean, which is them are nice public land deer. I don't know you can't
Yeah,
expect to
it's
shoot monsters in Michigan because every year because it's on public land. It's unless you're really putting your time in.
yeah.
Like,
Traditions. Do you or your family have any traditions when it comes to deer season at any point?
we just every year we get together and go gun hunting. Get to my dad's every year and have chili after we get done in the mornings. Like the last few years, my dad, I have a 13-year-old daughter.
Hmm.
He takes her opening morning and they go hunting together. Like that's been for the
Oh,
last
that's cool.
yeah. Like I mean, she's a pretty good killer. Like she shot two 8 point bucks, few does. She's shot three turkeys or two turkeys. Like she's pretty good hunter. Like she don't
That's
get
awesome.
worked up. I don't. She's not. I don't think she's mine half the time because I'm jacked up. Like
All right.
I can't hold my excitement. Like
All
she just
right.
she shoots, sits back down. Like I just killed this turkey. You know. Like I'm way more excited than she is.
All right. Was that one of Mid State Outdoors videos you had? You daughter shot a turkey on video.
Yep, I did two of them last year and this year. I filmed both of them. Yep.
That's awesome,
I
man.
think we shot one when you were down here.
Really?
Yeah,
Dang, I missed that.
when you were on it was the second day of turkey season. Didn't you come down for the first weekend?
Yep, I was there that first weekend.
Yeah, she shot hers the second day of turkey season.
That's awesome. That's when I had that unreal turkey experience, Michigan turkey experience over there at Matt's place. I got that video's getting ready to come out, but that I put together. But I think I had like 9 strutters in front of me, and 4 or 5 of them would gobble all at the same time. Man, I didn't realize how good turkey hunting was in Michigan. I was blown away because I've been turkey hunting for a long time, and I know it's different in everywhere you go. But man, turkey hunting in Michigan was awesome.
Yeah, I love turkey hunting. I've shot my first turkey. I was 12. Like that's when you can legally shoot your first turkey in Michigan. Well, I guess now that when I was growing up, it was 12. Now you can shoot one at 5.
Right.
You kids old enough, you think they can hold the gun? It's
Right.
crazy in my mind. But I was 12, shot my first turkey with my dad, and I might have been like 1 or 2 years that I didn't shoot turkeys, probably because I was chasing other tail instead of turkey tail. But
Right.
so but I've been pretty good at killing turkeys. Like that's we did a lot of running gun. I never really used a decoy, never really called up until like 4 or 5 years ago. I started using decoys and actually learning how to call and stuff. I'd rather just run and gun, like find
Yeah.
turkeys and stalk them. But
Yeah. Yeah, it's just so wide open there where you guys are at. It's wide open and flat. Stalking up on one of them turkeys from deep's probably pretty difficult.
yeah, we did well, I used to hunt a lot of public, and public in Michigan is a lot. I guess where we're at, there's a lot of big timber.
Hmm.
There is some fields, but if there's fields and there's turkey strutting and it's public land, there's probably going to be a hunter.
Yeah, I
So I mean,
would doubt that. What about when it comes to scouting? As for deer, anyways. What's something that you do throughout the year, scouting wise? How do you approach the property, and how do you scout it?
well, I drive, I hang a lot of trail cameras. There's a lot of roads through here because they've like made a lot of dikes going through, so that way they could drive down, check everything. So a lot you can just observe from my truck. They put big piles of dirt. I can drive my truck up on it and I can watch these deer go from islands, stuff like that.
That's awesome.
If you come up for turkey season this year, we'll come out here. We'll go to my work. I'll show you where I deer hunt and stuff. Like there's so much wildlife. I know you're
That,
big into waterfowl.
oh, absolutely.
It's 400 acres of wetland set aside.
Oh, wow. I need
I
to come duck hunt in Michigan next year.
there's See, I have a lot of ducks and geese here, or they do, But
Hmm.
there's two other guys that hunt, and they hunt the pond that the geese go to the most.
Yeah.
And it's super hard to get out there. If I had like a layout boat,
Hmm.
it'd be perfect because there's big open water.
Yeah.
There's no cattails or nothing growing.
Nothing to hide in.
Right. So if I had a layout boat and you could just lay out there, put decoys around you, I think it'd be amazing.
That would be awesome. I've never done that as far as the layout boat thing.
Me either.
We were talking to a guy a couple years ago. We almost went up on the East Coast, hunting some sea ducks and stuff in Brants on the East Coast, and he was like, "Are you afraid of sharks?" I'm like, "Yeah, kinda. I'm from Indiana. I don't have sharks where I'm from." He's like, you might want to, second guess this because the Makos will come up and bump your layout boat. And I was like, "Oh my, yeah, I'm not good on this. I would probably have a heart attack, dude."
Me too. Reach down, grab a duck, and it takes the duck out of your hand. Like
Yeah,
down.
yeah, you're shooting ducks in the ocean and blood's everywhere, and then you
Right.
got Mako sharks swimming around. Y'all are crazy.
Yeah.
I guarantee you ain't got no dog going after it with something
No.
like that.
No, because your dog will get ate for sure. Like, there's no doubt. Like, crashing around in the water like crazy.
You talked about trail cams. What kind of trail cams are you using?
I have just regular SD trail cameras. Really, I run a lot of
Gotcha.
cheap ones because if anybody steals them, I don't want them. But this year, I'm going to run a lot more cell cams
Mm-hmm.
just because I want to be able to put them, not be able. I want to get close to the bedding area so that way I know this is the one he's using primarily.
Right.
Or it's hard to tell because there's so much bedding area. He might not be using this one, but I'm getting a lot of pictures of him coming out of here. I like to put my trail cameras where I can drive to them because if I'm going to push a deer, I'd rather be with my truck
Right.
than with like my scent or me just walking in there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
If I push him with my truck, a lot of times he's just going to run over there and stand there and look at you anyhow.
Right.
And then
What about like locations? I know you said there's so much bedding; it's kind of hard to figure out a little bit at first. But where are you putting those trail cam? What are you basing off? Just you seen them? You've seen them there multiple times. And you're like, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and put a trail cam up here.
yeah, or you can drive around, see them where they're going into the neighbor, like most of the neighboring fields. You can drive all the way around. So I'll drive around a section at night, see where the deer are hanging out. Well, this is where they're hanging out in this side, so they got to be using this bedding area. So I'll try to just find one of their good runways that I can drive to,
Yeah.
hang a trail camera, see what's coming in there. Be efficient. If we could use minerals, then we'd get a lot more intel on what's going on. But
Right.
can't bait or nothing here.
Let's do some gear talk. What kind of bow you toting around?
I shoot a Matthews Monster Chill.
Nice. I shoot a monster as well, not the chill one, but the McPherson series Matthews monsters. I've had it for 10 years now or something, and I just don't want to. I'm good with it. I don't need nothing new just quite yet. I'm sure there's going to be one day where I want a new bow. Obviously on here talking to everybody that's shooting the brand new model every year. I feel like sometimes, and I do get jealous of that, get people getting new bows, but I just shoot tax with it. I don't need anything else.
Yeah, I feel so confident with this bow. I used to shoot PSE. Like growing up, my dad shot bow. Like he shot leagues and stuff all the time. Him and my cousin shot leagues, and so I always shot leagues with the kid leagues and stuff. And I always shot PSE all my life. And then my cousin's like, he couldn't shoot his bow no more. He was an older gentleman, so I couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
He went to crossbow, and he's like, take this bow and start using it. He's like, I'll sell it to you cheap. I was like, all right. So I started using it. I'm like, man, this is so much better than my PSC. But I've always just bought cheap stuff because I didn't have the money to go out and buy a $1,200 bow. Like,
Right. That's kind of in the ballpark I am too. I can't remember what I paid for it at the time. It wasn't cheap at the time. But I just can't see spending that much money on a bow year in and year out. Some people that they like doing that. I got a buddy Robert that buys the brand new model every year and whatnot. He still gets probably a pretty good coin for the bow that he had before, but I get so comfortable with it. I don't see the need to switch. That's why you practice anyways, and then you practice so much with that particular bow. I feel like I'd have to practice even more if I got a new one.
Yeah, me too. I'm so confident with this bow. Like I feel when I squeeze the release, it's happening. Like I just
Yeah, and confidence is key sometimes when it
for
comes,
sure,
just
for
like
sure.
I was talking earlier when I shot that buck this year at 46 yards. I don't think anybody that doesn't have some confidence isn't probably going to take that shot.
Yeah, I don't. I feel confident. It's just hard for me to do that. Like
Right.
I told my dad like this year I'm gonna set like I'm gonna have a 50-yard pin, and then I'm gonna shoot 50 yards just because I know I can do it.
Hmm.
And if there's a nice buck out there, I'm just gonna shoot. Like I
Yeah.
know I'm gonna just do what I can, take my time, squeeze the trigger, let the bow do the rest. Like it's like riding a
Yeah.
bike. You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely. They got people out west that are shooting 50 yards as a chip shot for some of these people. You know what I mean?
oh yeah, I got buddies that go shoot the total archery challenge. I mean, and
Yep.
they're shooting 100 yards and stuff all the time. They practice it, and I've shot 100 yards at work just messing around. At 80 yards, feel pretty good about it. I think.
All right.
Like I shoot a small target just because I feel aim small, miss small. So if I shoot at a smaller target,
Right.
hit the I use a pig target most of the time. At 80 yards, I can hit it in the lungs 95% of the time, which is pretty good for me. Like
Yeah. Absolutely. What about what kind of stands, if you're using a stand, what kind of stands are you using? And then other than the stand, what else are you using?
I use hang-ons or not hang-ons, ladder stands most generally. I've
Mm-hmm.
preset them before. I need to be a little more mobile. Once in a while, I got a lone wolf assault 2 or something with
Mm-hmm.
sticks. I use once in a while, not very often because I don't feel too comfortable hanging it. I need to practice and utilize that more this year. I think that would up my game a lot because I really want to look into saddle hunting
Mm-hmm.
just because of there's trees that I know I can hunt with a saddle that I
Yeah.
can't hunt with a tree stand.
Yeah.
But I'm just a bigger guy. I'm 275, and I just don't feel safe hanging from a rope. Like I don't
Well,
know.
I'm not gonna lie, buddy. I saddle hunted for this was my first year in the saddle game, and I'm not too far off of what you're talking about. You said 270. I'm not too far off, and I'm being honest. I'm not too far off of that, and I felt probably more comfortable in that saddle sometimes than I did being in a lock on. You don't ever know. Maybe a cable goes bad on your lock on. It's been there for a couple years. It gives out. That's why I started wearing a harness. But that saddle up there, I could do backflips up there. I just felt so confident in it. And then when I got to using it as much as I did, I got confidence. And I got confidence in to be able to set it up as quickly as I did. Sticks, your platform, get on it. I could have it all set up in 10 minutes probably ish, 10 minutes
Right.
ish. But that's the reason I got into saddle hunting. I wanted to be more mobile. I had hunted preset hang-ons for 20 years, and it was like, okay, I need to switch it up and see what this mobility that everybody's talking about. And I don't think I wasn't successful in the mobility part, but I could see if I didn't kill that one buck out of the preset stand, I probably could have got zoned in with the saddle. But the mobility thing's awesome. Just and like
Yeah.
you said, you got trees that you think you can get into, maybe not get a lock on or a ladder, and you can use the limbs of a tree to get up in it with the saddle. With your sticks, use those limbs as almost another step. Where you're definitely not getting a ladder stand and something like that.
Right, for sure. But we'll get back onto what I use for gear.
There you go.
And I shoot wreck broadheads. Like
Hmm.
I really have been happy with those. We're partnered with them.
Yep.
I shoot victory arrows. Like I've been really happy with their arrows. We're not. I just got them from the local archery shop, and they've been really good for me. Like I don't break a lot of them they blow through the deer most generally.
Hmm.
Mm.
What
Pretty
about clothing? I know you guys are big scent locks. Talk about that a little bit.
yeah. So I'm a brand ambassador for ScentLock. I run a forefront suit in bottomlands, mossy oak, and I've used scent lock for a long time just because I really am big into my scent control. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
guess I'm not crazy about it. I don't go home, wash my clothes every night, like
Right.
anything like that. I mean, I wash them at first, I put them in scent, like a scent proof tote,
Right.
and I don't put my clothes on until I get to where I'm hunting and then put
Same.
them on. Like, I don't wear them in the car or nothing like that. But I hunt the wind a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Used to use just Walmart stuff, but then when I started working more and I was like, man, I'm gonna buy me some scent lock. And I don't know if it helped my hunting any, but I thought it did. So I was like, man,
Give you a little confidence.
it gave me confidence. Yep. I was like, man, I didn't get winded tonight, and I started wearing it. And then I started just buying it every year.
Mm-hmm.
Then I became a brand ambassador. So I mean, I really like their products. Like, it's super good.
Absolutely. I use pretty much the same thing. It's the same company. I use a lot of
Yep.
scent blocker stuff, which I know it's the kind of the same thing. But
Yep.
man, I've kind of fell in love with the bottomland thing.
Yeah.
You
Yeah. I
know,
love
I've
bottomland.
never been much of a mossy oak guy. I've always been a real tree guy, and real tree edge is probably my favorite pattern right now for whitetails. For where I'm hunting, it looks great where I'm at. But that there's something about bottomland. It just looks good. I think it looks real good spring wise, turkey hunting.
Yeah,
I
dude.
feel like it's like the anthem for turkey
Yeah,
hunters.
it's definitely a good turkey hunt. And Blocker just come out with that finisher series for turkey hunting, dude. It's fire. Like,
Yeah, it does look pretty good.
I ordered. Yeah, I really like it. It's nice. I
Yeah.
like the cuffs for ticks because I don't know, ticks like me for some reason.
Right.
Like, so it's got cuffs on the ankles so that way ticks can't get up in your pants or your coat. Like,
Hmm.
the material seems really tough. I didn't buy the vest because I don't really wear a vest much because I only use a couple calls, so I just put them in my coat pockets, less things to take.
Yeah.
But the knee pad, they feel tough in the knees. Like, I feel I can crawl with them and not tear them out. Like, it
Man,
really,
I we were supposed to be in Nashville this past weekend. Me and the wife were going to go down to the NWTF convention there in Nashville, and some things came to play, and weren't able to go. But they had some kind of like special edition turkey vest that came out. It was the Mr. Fox edition,
yep.
and I guess they were flying off the shelves, but they had one left. And they put it on auction Saturday night, and it sold for $31,000.
Holy crap!
A turkey vest,
That's
$31,000. I'm like, I wouldn't even open the box if I got
no.
bought it for 31. It would not go out anywhere. It'd be like in a special display case in my man cave back here.
That's a lot of money, like, to spend
Yeah,
on. Right,
absolutely. I tried to get Zach to go down there with me to Nashville before stuff happened. I wasn't able to go, but we should get a group of people to go down there next year. It looks so much fun. Maybe rent an Airbnb or something. Go to the convention during the day, and then maybe hit the nightlife up on Broadway down in Nashville. I think it'd be a blast.
Dude, I've been telling my dad and my girlfriend, like, I'm going to Nashville. Like, if I don't have to, I'll not go to ATA.
Right.
Go to Nashville. Like, I think I'd rather go to the NWTF than go to ATA. Like, ATA is fun. You meet a lot of people down there, but you're gonna meet a lot of people down there in Nashville, and
Oh
I like
yeah.
turkey hunts. So that'd be
Oh,
awesome.
me too, for sure. Talk about ATA a little bit. What's some things that maybe surprised you or stood out to you, and then maybe some things that disappointed and didn't live up to expectations or something?
Oh, it's great. You meet a lot of people down there. You get a lot of affiliation, meeting people. But it's great. Last year the show, like, the seminars weren't as good as like the year before, but the year before it was hunting public and it was how to build your YouTube page.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're huge. Like, so that was a lot
Right.
of good information on that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and just meeting people, the camaraderie. Like, they have a good time. Like, they have a band and stuff, and then the Badlands Film Festival's right after it, that is awesome. Like,
Yeah.
you can see some great content being created there.
That's awesome, man.
I
Wow, you
mean,
guys doing that again next year? I think what we talk about is in St. Louis or something like
yeah,
that.
I haven't really talked to them lately. I don't know. They talked about not going there and going to NWTF, but
Oh, here we go. Now we got a
that would
party
be,
going.
yeah. I know they talked about going down there because they want to go to NWTF too.
That's awesome. Let's talk about. I know you're big on filming and self-filming and filming your daughter and stuff like that. Let's talk some gear talk when it comes to filming. What kind of camera are you running?
I'm running a Canon G50 4K. Just it's nothing special.
Mm-hmm.
It takes decent film. I run a Rhodes external mic on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm running a fourth arrow stiff arm, which is my first year running it. It's been better than my muddy. My muddy was heavy. It's got the
Yes.
big base.
That big bass, man. You
It
know, I knocked it, and then I bought that the Lone Wolf custom pocket arm off of Zach last year, and I think it would have been great for a different camera. My camera was too heavy for it, so I had instances where like that arm wanted to almost like rock on me, even with the little thing like dug into the tree. But I'm actually looking at those fourth arrows too. I've seen your guys' video and some of the stuff that comes off of it. Looks like a great product with that little knuckled kind of deal they got.
Yeah,
It's so much better probably than that big muddy base you're messing with.
yeah. I'm running the Talent with the 3.0 on it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a lot smaller. It's only like
Right.
4 inches, I think, by 4 inches. It's a lot smaller base.
Yeah.
But it's got a ratchet on it. But this year, I know at ATA they came out with like a cam over buckle one, so that way, because that's people were complaining about having to ratchet and stuff. But
Yeah.
so that'll be a lot better for slipping in, not being so noisy.
Do you run any kind of secondary cameras, or you just pretty much run a main camera?
No, I run a DJI Osmo
Mm-hmm.
cam, like a
Yeah.
GoPro.
Right.
This year, I want to run another one, like for turkey hunting, so that way I can put it on like a point of view of my decoys,
That'd be cool.
so that way I can run it. But it's hard to find a remote that can turn on your GoPro.
Yeah.
Like I can run it off my phone if it's on.
Mm-hmm.
If it shuts off, I can't turn it back on.
I have like a Bluetooth remote for my GoPro. Actually, it wraps around my wrist, and I can just hit the red on there, and then it starts recording for me.
Nice.
Yeah,
But
it wasn't that much either. It was pretty affordable too.
but does your camera have to be on already, or can you turn on your
I
camera?
can turn on the camera with the
All right.
remote.
Nice. That's nice.
But I do when I'm just behind the camera and I'm filming one of my guys. I can do that. I can mess with those GoPros and stuff and get all that kind of going or whatever. But when I'm by myself, man, I don't. It's hard to mess with it sometimes.
Oh,
Self filming is hard. I don't. Some people just don't understand how hard that really is. When you're put in a pressure cooker situation with a deer that you want to take, when it maybe comes to just a buck. Example being just a buck, and you get that adrenaline rush going and stuff. Filming can be hard, man.
I struggled hard this year. Like I would have the first year did decent. I thought for my first year. The second year I come out, I shot like 3 deer on film. My second year, I'm like, man, this is getting easy this year.
All right.
I struggled so hard. Like I just couldn't get it done with being on the ground. You couldn't see the deer coming, so you couldn't get ready.
Mm-hmm.
I had little shooting lanes, and the frag grass kept messing up my focus. I just struggled. Like it was hard. It cost me deer. Like it was bad. And when I didn't get mine on film this year just because I struggled hard. Like and it was getting close. I shot it November
Yeah,
10th, 5 days away from gun season. I'm like, I just got to shoot one before gun season. Like,
you're right.
it,
And it seems like I always shoot one when I don't bring the camera. This year that I shot him on Monday, November 7th. I was actually supposed to go with Ryan that morning. He texted me super early, said, "Hey, I can't go. His boy was sick and stuff." And I'm like, "I'll just wing it this morning and go to my honey hole." Left the camera. Didn't I should have, man? I would have had some unbelievable footage. I wish I would have took it. I wish I would just tried it. I think I don't try it sometimes. I don't give it the benefit of the doubt and try to work that in there. I love filming other people. I mean, I love it, man. Zach come up, I filmed him on some whitetails. I filmed Adam, Ryan, and some people don't understand how hard getting that footage can be sometimes. Like, our deer population isn't anything like what you guys got, and to try to get a nice buck on film. And we tried. I mean, this was like our third year trying to get that big deer killed on camera, and then for us to do it back-to-back days I felt like a huge monkey was off my back.
right. It's once you do it, it's that relief. But if I want a filmer, like I want somebody to follow me full time and film,
Right.
so that way I didn't have to worry about. I could just worry about killing. I just worry about hunting. But I got this thing. If I take somebody with me, we're not gonna see nothing. Like I don't know if it's just because there's the extra person, the extra movement, the scent. I can see deer, know them deer in there. Take my dad hunting, we're not gonna see no deer. Like it's just I don't get it. Like,
I have like a thing when I hunt with someone for the first time. I always have like the greatest amount of success, and then it's like so hard to replicate it after that.
yeah, I'm good at turkey hunting. I can take people turkey hunting and get turkeys, but deer hunting just ain't seen my thing. Like
It happens,
I
man.
guess took my girlfriend a couple years ago. She shot a nice 130 10 point. Like
Nice.
that was all on film. I did it. It was pretty cool. She was
That's cool.
excited. It had like an 8-inch kicker coming out right at its bases,
Hmm.
and we named it Kicker. It was a frequent flyer on the camera, so I
That's
called him
awesome.
Kicker. She's like, "That's the buck I want to shoot all year." She kept telling me.
That's awesome.
We had like 60 does out in front of us. I'm like, "You got to shoot this doe, or she's gonna bust us. Like the hunt's gonna be over." I'm like, "She's getting in our wind. We're gonna be screwed." I happened to look up, and he's got big brows, and I seen it. I'm like, "Get the gun, just shoot that deer standing out there. Don't look, just shoot it." She shoots, it runs out, falls. I'm like, pumped for her. We
Right.
walked. Like she didn't even know what buck she shot.
That's awesome. But you could just tell what buck it was just off the brow tines.
Yeah, it's got like 11-inch brow tines. Like
Oh wow.
it's got curvy brows. It's crazy. I'll send a picture to you.
That's awesome. Talk about being content creators or creator with everybody with Mid State Outdoors. Talk about maybe how that's changed your outlook on some things or changed the way you approach stuff. Just talk about it in general. What's it like for you being a content creator?
Well, I started like I said about 3 years ago. I wanted to start filming my hunts because I didn't think a lot of people believed me on what I actually
Right.
saw. Like, no way you've seen 7 bucks tonight, or you didn't see that buck tonight. I'm like, man, I'm gonna take a camera, start filming. When I was younger, I always wanted to like watching buckmasters or monster
Right.
bucks or anything. Like, man, I want to do this when I get older.
Right.
But it was just a dream. Like I never ever really thought. And I was like, I put on Facebook. I'm like, I'm thinking about buying a camera. Like, who would watch my videos? And I had a lot of like support. Like, do it, do it. And then Zach got a hold of me. He's like, hey, we got a thing already. Just buy a camera, join with us, and we'll start editing and stuff. And I'm like, so I met up with him, bought a camera that year, started doing it, and I was like, man, I fell in love with it. I'm like, it's something I
Absolutely.
really enjoy to do. So I started out with a G20
Mm-hmm.
and evolved. I really like it. It's like you said, I like filming other people too,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah, it's cool, man, and especially with what you guys got going there. You got multiple people that film. Some people like Adam for you guys. He seems like he's super into it, and he films everything. And when I say everything, when you go up there and hunt with you guys, it is everything. Driving around in the truck looking for turkeys. He was filming when we were at dinner that night at ATA. It was just like he films everything, which is a freaking gold mine for somebody like myself. When you start getting into editing and stuff like that, like when I went up there and killed that bird. But the first time I was up there, when all those birds were on Matt's place, I have a 45-minute video from Adam's camera, and it's like, wow, he didn't even like stop and start the record button. He just hit play and let it play out, which is awesome because you can go
right.
through that and take what you want. But it was so cool to have multiple people filming me. I'm usually the one behind the camera, and then they film me, and then me and Zach finally got it done in his dad's place. And man, getting that monkey off my back, getting my first turkey down on film was awesome, man. I can't wait to release the video.
Yeah, it's gonna be sweet. I've seen some clips of it. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
It's I've learned a lot of things filming, learned a lot of things not to do, like
Right.
over focus. That was my biggest thing. Like I didn't have a clue like really how my camera even ran. The first time I went out, I turned it on, just used it, man. That's what I did.
Right.
I don't know. I thought I'd be good at it because I'm a pretty decent hunter, so I knew I'm already killing. So now just getting it on film is the other challenge, and it's a challenge, a big challenge.
Oh, for sure. And then you get that you got to have an eye for what you think it's going to look like later on. Like, just say, for example, you're getting ready to put a shot on a deer. Like, you don't need this big, super close up shot. Back it out a little bit where you can see some stuff. Because especially if you're by yourself and you make a shot, you're not going to be messing with that camera after you make that shot. You're going to be focusing in on trying to keep your eye on the deer or whatnot, and then just all that playing out, man. There's almost an art to it.
For sure, and that's what I need to practice on more is like my B-roll, like more of
Me too.
going into the stand, stuff like that. This year I did a little more of that with like my GoPro. I hooked it on my bow, more footage of me walking and talking about where I was going and stuff like that. Where last year I didn't have that camera, so this year where I'm evolving every year.
Yeah, I would say that's probably where I need to focus the most is on B-roll. I'm terrible at B-roll. Like, when Adam shot his deer the opening day or the day before opening day gun, I had him the interview from the day before. I had the interview after he shot it, and it was and then dragging it out and that sort of thing. And then the next day when I filmed Ryan shoot one on the river, I had nothing, and I say absolutely nothing to go with it, which it still turned out great, I think, but. If I would have had some B-roll of us walking into the stand, it's opening day gun, or in the truck before we got out, I feel like it would have made more of a story for it instead of like jumping right in and you see this monster standing there. It's like, but I didn't have anything to, go with it.
Right. You got to film everything. Like you said, like Adam filmed
for sure.
Everything. You really, if you want to tell your story, you need to get up in the morning with the camera in your hand rolling on you, like making your coffee, going up to your truck, telling the whole entire story. Like
for sure. And that makes
to do by yourself.
That makes the story even better. Just like Sloan's buck from this year, he's got going down the road. He's flipping his brother off, on the camera.
Add to the story.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's just one thing I need to work better on, and I think I will. I've already kind of started that. We're going to be making some shed hunting videos, and it's in the car on the way there, like, hey, this is what we're doing, blah blah, and then going through the woods and that sort of thing. But definitely something that takes some time to kind of get used to, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And it's hard. I hate talking to the camera a lot. Like, I hate getting in there in the morning, doing my interviews. Like, I like to just film stuff, like, really.
Right. I'm with you, man. What about plans for the 2023 season? Start with turkey, deer. What's in store for you for this year?
Oh, I gotta start knocking on doors for these turkey rights here. 'Cause I always ask every year, just because. Yeah, you let me hunt there for 10 years, but I still want to ask just because stuff changes.
For sure.
So I just need to. I'm gonna shoot one with my bow this year, a turkey, on film. I tried last year. Had my dad with me. I shot a Dave Smith decoy with my bow.
Oh, wow.
Kind of embarrassing, but,
It happens, man.
It happened. I shot through I was out the window with my sight, but my arrow was below, and I shot through the side of the blind.
Oh, wow.
And, I just missed the turkey's head, by inches, and shot the decoy. It was crazy.
That is crazy. I'm going to be doing that. I've tried it before. I did it in Missouri a couple years ago, but I'm going out to my buddy's place, Troy Delaney, in West Virginia this year, bow only. I'm not even taking a gun with me. I may take it just in case. But we're going to be in the double bull chasing some West Virginia mountain gobblers. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
What about deer? Just Michigan?
Yeah, 2 years ago I had a lease in Ohio in 3 different counties. We had quite a bit of, and my buddy's been texting me wanting, telling me there's openings. I don't know if I can afford to go down there. I would really like to, so I just got to see, what's going on. But I'd primarily probably just be in Michigan. I would like to go out of state, but it's just hard. I work so much.
Yeah. And then you get to chasing certain deer, and it's hard to step away from that. I think, you get to chasing certain bucks like you were, watching prior to season even coming in and stuff. And then it's like, well, I got to go over here. It's almost, I feel like I want to get it done in state before I go out of state, which can be a challenge in all in itself too. You know what I mean?
Right. The year I had my lease in Ohio, I went out the second day of bow season and shot my buck in Michigan. So I was like, I thought I had all this time in Michigan. So I was like, I'll go to Ohio. And then I
Yeah.
went down like the first weekend, seen deer, nothing big. I went down and did one weekend of the rut hunt, and my truck broke down. So I spent all my money that I
Oh,
had to fix my truck. So I
right.
was like, I didn't have the funds to just keep driving back to Ohio because it was like 6.5 hour drive
Oh, wow.
to my lease because it was southeast Ohio. It was mountains. It was they told me it's hilly. It's hilly. I got down there and we were on a mountain. I'm like, I'm a fat guy.
All right. Try to drag a deer up out of here.
Right.
Yeah, I've hunted some of that stuff over there in Ohio. I might have to put Ohio back on my list. It was fun when I went over there. I did a rut hunt over there a whole week. I ended up shooting a little 6-pointer my last day over there. Ohio was fun for sure. I think I'd rather hunt private than public. I know that sounds like a cop out, but there was a lot of people. There was a lot of people hitting that public over there. But Kentucky's, I mean, it's big on my list right now. Kentucky was so fun last year, man.
I would love to go to Kentucky just because it's getting to be a lot of good bucks there, and it's just they're killing big bucks. And I love
Absolutely. We went for the opener, during Labor Day weekend, and that's a whole nother conversation in itself with the weather, and stuff like that. But man, there's a lot of public. I mean, hopefully I'm not ruining it for people that do it, but there's a lot of public land in Kentucky, and some of it's bow only. So you can only imagine what that accumulates over years and years of the good bucks not being taken out of there.
for sure because bow only would help a lot. Like you can't
For
reach
sure.
out, kill them. Like that would help.
I think the certain property that we hunted, I think they do one gun hunt there a year, and it's a draw deal. So they only get gun pressure once a year, one weekend a year.
That'd be crazy.
Right. I wish
Michigan's
they.
got like a 3 month gun season.
That's crazy. We talked about it this last episode 56, when I had Randy Kincaid on there. That I think Indiana is actually going to be switching theirs up. We have a deer survey that we fill out every year, and it's looking like maybe there's some changes coming to our gun season. And I really, really hope they move the dates on it, and I really hope they shorten it up. I'm not trying to take hunting away from anybody, but our population is struggling as a whole right now in Indiana. And when you have a 3-week long gun season, you're not changing much,
Right. They got an online survey here in Michigan first year trying it.
Mm-hmm.
I think they said we were over 300,000 deer killed this year in Michigan.
Dang.
Like that's quite a few deer.
Absolutely. I don't remember the exact numbers on Indiana, but I don't think. Oh, it could have been, but I don't remember it being that high. What about like a dream hunt? What would your dream hunt, if you could pick anything to go on in 2023? What would it be?
What would I be? Probably an elk hunt with my dad,
That'd
just
be cool.
because he went out west a lot when I was younger, and some of the guys he was with had success, but he never really did. So I think I would like to go on an elk hunt with my dad. It'd probably be my dream hunt would be, but I'll probably end up going bear hunting instead is what it would be. That's you start sending for a Michigan bear permit. Like my dad shot one when I was younger, so I was like, I always wanted to shoot one. I thought that'd be cool.
For sure. I've always wanted, and I continue to have that dream. Bear's definitely on my list. Black bear, it'd be a grizzly, whatever. I would love to shoot a bear with my bow, though. I want to shoot it with my bow, which would be probably an unreal process for sure. Well, buddy, I've had a lot of fun with you coming on, talking with you. Can't wait to get up there in Michigan and chase some gobblers and stuff with you here in the spring.
Yeah, heck yeah, dude. When you come up, we'll definitely do some turkey hunting. We'll show you around, show you where I deer hunt and stuff. Like,
that's
good
cool,
time
man.
talking to you.
Absolutely. Tell everybody where they can find you and Mid-State Outdoors on the old social media.
We're on Facebook, Instagram. I think we got every social media, like TikTok, everything. I think they got everything set up for they can find us. YouTube's pretty much our big one.
Yep.
But Facebook, we got the most followers probably, but I think we have every social media.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, and everybody that's listening on the podcast world, give us a like and a review, rate and a review. If you're on the YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll be back here again for episode 58 next week. Y'all have a good rest of your week.